back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books.
Hey guys, so I'm here today to do another review for you, and this is again an SBFBO one, and I'm really excited to say that this one is one of my semi-finalists. So let's dive into talking about A Bastard's Birthright. This is a sword and sorcery style book which follows two main characters, Ban and Calris, and the two of them have been firm friends for a long time, and we can see that really quickly when we meet them as characters because they are full of banter and wit and poking a lot of fun at one another right from the get-go, which I always really enjoy about sword and sorcery, and I always find is probably the best part for me, is sort of seeing those two characters bounce off of each other and just have fun. Even in the darkest situations and the most scary situations, they're good at poking fun. And for me, that was really vital to this book, and is generally something I love in sword and sorcery. The fact that they can be fighting bad monsters and horrible things, and yet they can still find time to poke a joke at each other, come up with some sort of silly bet, or whatever the case may be. As I say, they've been friends for a long time, and they do like to take the mick a bit. But having said that, they would also stick up for one another no matter what, and be there for one another no matter what. They are completely devoted friends, and they would give lives for one another, I believe. So I felt like it was a really loving relationship, even if it was silly at times, and instantly I connected with the two of them as characters. We actually joined this story as the two of them have been in a marine organisation. They've gone away from their home and they've been there for many years, sort of travelling around with the Marines, and the Marines are like an elite style of guard unit. Now, they usually are working for the Crown, but in this case, the two of them end up in a bit of a brawl, and as their punishment, they have to go and escort a mage and an artefact across this mage city. And so we follow the two of them as they sort of begrudgingly go and do that. And along the way, of course, they meet all sorts of adventure, but they also end up meeting the fire mage himself, who is called Ferez, and later on they end up meeting his apprentice Jasmine as well. Now, I really like Ferez and Jasmine as characters too. I wouldn't say they were the main characters, but it was nice to have fleshed out sort of sub-characters as alongside the main characters. I think both of them have interesting quirks to them. I think the two of them work pretty well. They have almost like a father-daughter relationship, or at least certainly a mentor and mentee relationship. And I did enjoy seeing the two of them. Jasmine is particularly fiery and has a lot of potential within her, and she doesn't necessarily always know how to direct her potential in the best ways, but she has so much magic within her. And then Ferez is basically the best in his field, so he is completely and ultimately powerful with fire. So he is a very well-known, very prolific wizard or mage. The characters all kind of interact from that point onwards, and it did feel as though as we went through the story, the stakes get higher and higher. There's a lot of potential and a lot of magic amping up, and a lot of potentially world-shattering stuff going on at the end, which I really enjoyed. And this artifact that they are escorting is kind of the root of this whole story. It's about, like, what is this artifact? How do we unlock it and use it? Should we unlock it and use it? So I really enjoyed that. I do think that Ben and Calris are reminiscent of other sword and sorcery stories and duos that I've enjoyed, like Royce and Hadrian. I also feel like they were reminiscent somewhat more of like Baucio, Kest and Brasti, who are from the Greatcoat series. The sass and the wit kind of came through a little bit more similar to those. And I feel like Ben and Calris would easily fit in that mould as well. The magic of this world is largely devoted to individuals learning their craft. So we have the master mages, and then we have apprentice mages, which is how Ferez and Jasmine's relationship sort of developed. And each of them has this potential, this magical potential within them, and they learn under a master how to unlock and control that potential. We see hints of the fire, definitely, but also shadow magic in this. There's also some hints at possible magic that was unknown in the world until now coming back in some form. So I really enjoyed seeing the potential there, and it seems like there's a lot more to come. In general, for a debut, which I believe this is, it was really a standout from the crowd. I really enjoyed it, and I certainly felt myself locking in on the characters and just enjoying their storyline as I went through. The book felt pretty fast-paced overall. I didn't feel like it was a struggle to get into, and I generally just really enjoyed the characters and where they were going and what was going on around them. There are some big battle scenes, so bear that in mind. However, I do think that if you don't love battle scenes like I don't, then the humour that Ben and Kelris have really, really enhanced those battle scenes for me and made them just that bit more enjoyable than usual battle scenes that are just doom and gloom. These are battle scenes that are doom and gloom, but they're also filled with little quips here and there, which was very fun. I will say there is a little bit of opportune placement of characters. So there's a character who pops up kind of at the most opportune moments to supply some information that others don't seem to have. It felt a little bit forced at times in that essence. So that's the only thing that I really have a slight complaint over, is the fact that some characters seem to know a lot more than others and not really be letting on and just hinting at things. That felt maybe a little bit forced to me, and it didn't feel quite as genuine as I wanted, and it feels like there's prophecy involved potentially, so I don't quite know where that bit is going, and I didn't love that bit, but I am intrigued about who these people are and where they come from and how they seem to know more than other people. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just not necessarily something I love to see as a trope either. I have a feeling that these characters are definitely going to come back again in book number 2, which is not out yet. I really wanted it to be. I had a look straight away, but it's not out yet. So I will certainly read book 2 when it does come out, and I did really enjoy this, and I certainly recommend it for anyone who's looking for a sword and sorcery style of book along the same lines as those characters I mentioned earlier. Then I think you'll really enjoy this, especially if you want one with lots of magic, high fantasy as well. Then this one would definitely be that. I ended up giving it a 4.25, so an 8.5 out of 10 for SPFBO. And as I say, I highly recommend this. It is one of my semi-finalists and I really enjoyed it. So please do go and pick this one up and then let me know what you thought of it if you read it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another video very soon. Bye all.
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.